All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Excuse me. Good to see y'all. We're live on Rockfin, YouTube, and on Callin. I'm posted the show a little late, and for whatever reason, when I post the show late on YouTube, nobody seems to. I mean, y'all know I'm doing the show at noon, right? But maybe you think I'm not doing the show. I don't know. But because I posted a little late, I think people did not get the heads up, but that's okay. That's okay. Everybody will show up when they're supposed to show up. It's a Friday fix, which is, we do a little more interaction with people. And there goes my mic doing the weird volume thing again. I don't know what's going on with that. It's annoying, though. I think it's a StreamYard thing. StreamYard, please get it together. So, yeah, we're kind of just doing a little more relaxed show today. And going to start, well, Phantomas sent me this. And thank you, Phantomas, for sending me this. But a few people talked, yesterday. I had already gotten everything together for my show, but a few people yesterday had mentioned that RFK Jr. had talked to Dane Wigington. And so that's, quite interesting. What's also interesting is... Oh, I have the link, Denver, if you want it. Give me one moment. What's interesting is that Children's Health Defense, which is RFK Jr.'s organization, and RFK Jr. himself have seemingly gone full. We're not going to call it conspiracy theory. We're going to call it truther, alternate. I'll just call it truther, right? Like people who are trying to, bring forth ideas that would officially be called conspiracy theories, but conspiracy theories aren't the thing that people think they are anymore, right? Most. A common phrase in the last few years, especially during COVID, was that the conspiracy theories, or the conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000. And I who am I to argue with that? Are the comments not working? Comments are being weird. I'm sorry, guys. I see your comment, Schulte. So I'm seeing the comments there. I just don't know if you guys are having a hard time leaving comments. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. I don't know. Anyways, the things that people thought, actually this goes back prior to COVID, right? With the whole, right, when Bernie Sanders was running, and maybe you can throw Trump in there too, they started saying things about the establishment that beforehand had been, kind of counterculture ideas. Certainly anti-establishment ideas, but they became more mainstream to point out that, the oligarchy, to point out that there are a small group of wealthy and powerful people that kind of are running the show, and they're taking power from us, and we need to take power from them, right? That's a basic. That is not a crazy idea, but it certainly is conspiratorial, isn't it? There's a handful of wealthy and powerful people that are running the joint, and they're doing their damnedest to, take even more wealth and power away from us and get it all for themselves. Oh, it's mine, mine, mine. I've got it all. That's not, it could be called conspiratorial, but a lot of people would just call that's the truth. And it is. It's the truth because it is. And I don't know. Oh, thanks, Kate, for doing that for me. I appreciate it. It's the truth because it is. It's not, it is not like a wild-eyed tinfoil hat kind of thing. It's actually what is going on. And, as time goes on, the evidence lines up with like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, actually they are doing, yep, yeah, actually, yeah, it looks like, right. And again, these are not new ideas necessarily. You can go all the way back. I was talking to somebody about, who was I talking to? Was I talking to William about the movie Network, which basically presented the exact same things that people are talking about right now. Network was a very conspiratorial film, right? That money and capital run the joint. Money and capital are the rulers, the bankers, the people that own all the things. They control what the truth is. They control what people and literally wasn't the guy that wasn't the journalist on Network kind of put in a position to be like, well, you're telling the truth and the ratings are great and we love it. Keep on telling the truth for the people, keep exposing the truth, but really we're still running the show, right? We're still running the network. And a lot of people are very, concerned that maybe that's happening again, concerned that maybe RFK is doing this. Is he telling the truth, or is he acting the part of the lead character in Network? Or is he acting the part of, or is he acting the part of Trump? Right? Trump drained the swamp. Oh, hey, swamp. Come on over here. I got a job for you. Hey, swamp. Glad to meet you. Hey, swamp. Let's do a deal. So Trump got elected, telling everybody that he was going to drain the swamp. And everybody was like, yeah, sounds great. What a catchy phrase. I'm going to get a T-shirt made with that. Drain the swamp. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. Tell me more, you anti-establishment hoe, you. He got elected on that, and then got in power and just, gave a big old, friendly hug to all the swampers, right? He just came in and got all up in the swamp. Is RFK doing the same thing? Who knows? But it's pretty wild that it's fairly wild that he interviewed Dane Wigington. I think, and it's okay. What Dane Wigington has to say. I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's Dane Wigington saying the same things that Dane Wigington always says. He didn't say anything new from what I heard. But the fact that RFK interviewed him I should probably listen to the whole thing, but I just didn't have time to. But the fact that he interviewed him was pretty crazy. And I think when you're talking about a national radio host called RFK Anti-Semite, oh my God. Oh, they're going to start with that shit, right? They're going to start that stuff. I mean, if they tried it on Bernie, Bernie is Jewish. It didn't go. It didn't land with Bernie because he's Jewish. But of course, they're going to try it on RFK. I mean, you got to go there straight away. Anti-Semite, racist, Russian pup. I mean, whatever sticks. It's interesting that he interviewed Dane Wigington. I think it's interesting. I don't. I mean, my thoughts on the geoengineering. I believe that it's happening. But the question is it a response to climate change? What a lot of people think is that geoengineering is causing the climate change. I don't believe that. I believe it's a response to climate change. That's kind of what Dane Wigington believes too, and puts out there too. So his ideas are not that wild. They're not that crazy. And I actually don't find, I have some issues with Dane Wigington's how he presents his message, but what he's basically saying, I kind of concur with. And he says, he believes that geoengineering is the thing that, terraforming the earth in our image, right? Or terraforming the earth for our pleasure is the biggest geoengineering of all time. So there's that. And I agree with that. But what do man, there's just I'm covering some things today that are going to be a little bit oh, there's my sound again. God, that's weird. I mean that are going to be a little bit what he says in the beginning though. Also, what RFK Jr. says in the beginning. Maybe I'll play just a little part of this video. What he says in the beginning is that, and this is also true, is that the powerful are using climate change as a control mechanism, as a means to probably or possibly most likely kick everybody off their farms and lock us all down and force everybody into cities and maybe make us eat bugs. I don't know. Some people think that could be the best thing to happen to the planet. I don't think that's necessarily the best way to do it. I think that telling people the truth and allowing people to have input. The reason why they won't do that is because the reason why they want to go with the lock everybody down method is because they want to stay in control. They want to keep all the money and the power. We have all the money and the power. Ha 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 ha. And we're going to save the planet because you guys are too dumb. Ha 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 ha. Right? But they're the ones that give us the bad choices in the first place. They're the ones that encourage us to pollute the planet, right? To sell us all the things that pollute the planet in the first place. They're the ones that created the whole system. The system of shipping and flying and using and consuming and planned obsolescence and bloppity boop da. Yeah, please like the videos if you're watching, wherever you're watching Rockfin. Do me a small favor. Denver says, I think Dane is there some, I know people are complaining about internet and other things. It's been weird to me. I updated my iPhone and it's been acting like super strange ever since I updated it. I don't know. Anyways. Super duper strange. Denver says, I think Dane is focused on the negative externalities and overall heating caused by solar dimming. Sure. But the solar dimming we're doing, or the solar dimming that's happening because of particulates? Is that, I mean, that's a distinction to make. Because if we're already geoengineering, and I think we are, I believe we are. If we're already doing it, and we've been doing it in response to the things that we're doing to the planet, and in an effort to hold everything together or keep everything going. If we are doing that, what are the impacts of that? I mean, there has to be impacts, right? If you stop it, it's the same thing with stopping global dimming. It's the same thing with taking the sulfates or the particulates out of the air, which James Hansen has talked about at length. When you do that, you set yourself up for the consequences, right? For the heating that's already in the system to be unleashed. And if you've already been, geoengineering, and it has, some positive impacts and some negative impacts, well, if you ever stop it, what, where are we at? Where are we at, really? So these are all good questions to ask. Okay, do you guys? I don't know. I'm just going to play the very beginning of this. It's a long. I mean, obviously, it's a long interview. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But RFK kind of just describes the issue of what the elites are doing with climate change, and I actually, the more I see, the more I am in agreement that there's something fishy going on, not with the actual notion of climate change. Data and evidence tells me that climate change is happening, but data and evidence also tells me that the people in charge are up to some funny business with regards to how they're pushing climate change or what they want to do, how they want to go about tackling it, which is obviously the wrong way. And as the climate really does unravel and fall apart, what kind of, I think it's a headlong race. It's a headlong race into how quickly they can, get everybody into a digital gulag. And there's evidence of that too. I just saw a really interesting video. Maybe I can find it. I saw a really interesting video of someone who you have to scan a QR code to get into an Aldi supermarket in the UK. I follow this channel, what is it called? I want to say Song Yongping or something like that, but I don't think that's the right name. But this channel that I follow just documents all the digital, what is it called? Where is it? Here it is. Song Pingang. I think that's the channel. I mean, their bio says millions of Chinese people being imprisoned in quarantine camps now, but what they do is document the total surveillance, the complete surveillance society that is being built in China, already built, not just built. They already have CBDCs. They require people to scan QR codes, and they have a social, score. And if your social score isn't good, or if it goes bad, you can't get into stores to buy food. You can't rent a home. You can't, all kinds of things. You're basically locked out of society. This is already happening. It's already happening. And, there's this person just posts videos, all day long of people in China having to queue up and scan their phones and show a QR code in order to get into their job or get into a supermarket or get into another part of the city. The digital gulag. They already have a digital gulag going on in China. and they're trying to implement it in the West. That's absolutely a thing that's happening, right? They're just trying to do it under the guise of, keeping people safe, or climate change, right? That's how they're doing it. They're selling it to you as this is going to be good for you or good for the planet, and really it's just, in the end, good for us, meaning the people in charge, the people running the digital gulag. I wonder if I can find this video. I know I'm kind of going all over the place. It's Friday. We're just hanging out. Let's see. Aldi QR code. I just saw this video on oh, here it is. I saw it over on the AM Wake Up. But watch this. So, it's going to be sold as convenience, or here you go. This is going to be great. It's going to keep people, safe, and this is going to diminish, people taking food or get, whatever. It's going to be sold for whatever, on whatever they can come up with to make people go like, oh yeah, that sounds good. But when they're just trying it out right now. They're just trying it out. They're just testing it out. But when it becomes ubiquitous, when it becomes like you can't get into any store or on a train or on a plane or on anywhere without scanning your QR code, when your social credit score is tied to your QR code, right? Then that's going to be bad. It's going to be very hard to do anything at all. And I'm hoping that the people of the West roundly reject this, while we still have some semblance of, the right to protest, or some semblance of getting out, stopping this before it happens. Right? I mean, now is a really good time to do that. But anyways, let me play this.
Business trip. You're staying in Greenwich and you want to buy some food. So you go into the local Aldi's, like this one, and you think, I'm going to go in here and buy some food so that I can feed myself. And then you approach the barrier and look, you can't even get in the shop without having a QR code to scan here or to scan here. And then you can go and buy things. Now this looks to me like the beginning stages of the digital prison that we keep talking about. What do you think?
Yeah, and they are they're testing, barriers between certain parts of the city in the UK, right? And certain cities, they're putting up those roads, which are already all over the place in China, right? They just put up the barriers. No, can't go over here. Tim, very good question. How are we not already in said prison? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just that the walls are getting a little bit, we're in the trash compactor in Star Wars, right? We live in a prison, but the walls are way out here. You can't, depending on how much status and money you have, the walls of the prison are a little farther away from you. If you live in like Baltimore, which is an outdoor prison, like, there are certain places in this country that are just straight up outdoor prisons. Like Baltimore is an outdoor prison. Sections of Baltimore, where, there are bars everywhere, but they're not keeping you in. There are just bars everywhere, right? There's just every window, every door has bars. And the cops are just roaming around, and there's just, it's just a very weird place. But if you've ever been to Baltimore, certain parts of Baltimore, you would know what I'm talking about. Yes, Kameshwari Gate, yes. The walls are closing in. But now the walls are getting a little bit closer. Right? They're moving in. You know. And you know, I'm not a fan of using climate change as a pretense. You know, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, sure, come on. I'm not necessarily a fan of that. I think people should be, you know, given all the information that they could possibly get and be allowed to make decisions, right? Because there is something to be said for the hive mind and the collective, you know, they can come to good decisions. Tim, you don't think that climate change will be used as a cover? I don't know. Probably another pandemic will be used as a cover, or aliens, or nuclear war, or something, right? Well, yeah, climate change is the hardest one to sell. You're right, because nobody cares. That's the funniest thing about it. Is climate change is the hardest one to sell because people are, you know, like screw that. People would believe, you know, a pandemic before they would believe climate change. Anyways, or some trans-based bill. I don't know. Yeah, but it's pretty wild, right? And that watching that video reminded me of this channel that I follow that shows people in China every single day, you know, having to scan a QR code and they have a social credit score, and if their social credit score is bad, you're out of luck. You know, oops, shouldn't have done the thing. You shouldn't have jaywalked. Shouldn't have, right? Like literally. There's a Black Mirror episode, which is a great episode if everybody's ever seen the social credit score Black Mirror episode, is right on the money. You know, one day you're living in a nice, you know, middle class neighborhood, and you have some kind of wealth and standing, and then all of a sudden things start going a little wrong and your credit score goes down, and all of a sudden you're living on the outskirts of town. You're homeless. You know, maybe you're doing something, you know, super menial just to try to keep buying food. You're living in an alternate economy because you can't live in the regular economy because and to your point, Tim, people are already doing that today in the U.S., right? There's just thousands and thousands and thousands of homeless people, millions, if maybe millions, of homeless out there living in an alternate world, living in an alternate economy, because they're out of the, you know, they're out of the loop. They're out of the you know, you don't even need a social credit score to tell you that you're not going to, if you're homeless, it's real hard to get back into something regular, you know, a regular job or a regular apartment. It's real hard. It is very difficult. Once you're there, it's hard to get back. If you protest or make bad comments on social media, they lower your points, right, Gene? Yep. If you try to talk about the truth, there's a video I think on that same channel about a MMA fighter. He's MMA, but some martial artist in China. He tried to expose the fact that some of the grandmasters are what's the word I'm looking for? They're fakes, they're frauds, they're phonies, right? So he'll challenge these grandmasters to fights and he'll beat them, right? And they're like, where's your martial arts? So this guy has beaten a couple of grandmasters, and they basically cast him out of society. They like took away all his money, and they took away all his income, and they took away his channel, and they took away all, you know, they just took everything from him, and he's like completely screwed because he tried to buck the system there. But anyways, going all the way back, to RFK, you know, interviewing Jane Wigington. Let's listen to the beginning of this.
focus on climate, and climate is a real issue. And I've spent 40 years looking at that science, but what we've seen over the past couple of years is that that issue has been captured, hijacked in many ways by the World Economic Forum and particularly by Bill Gates. They aggravate the problem and then sell us the solution. And of course, the solution that they want for climate is our more social controls, the big solution of geoengineering projects, which of course Bill Gates is funding all over the world. And today I want to talk about geoengineering, and particularly as it's related to climate, because it is a threat that the environmental community needs to know about, and the rest of us need to know about. It is a threat that is probably as dangerous to us as climate change itself. And that's why I've invited today to talk to us Dane Wigington, who is the producer of the groundbreaking.
Okay, I just want to play the beginning, the opening of that. I didn't really want to get deep into it. I mean, you're welcome to watch that video, and it's out there to watch. And if you've already watched Dane Wigington's show, you're going to get all the same information. It's not really going to be any different information. But what he said was important there. He said, geoengineering is as big of a problem as climate change is, right? And geoengineering is already or will be as big of a problem if you believe that it's happening or believe that they're going to, they keep talking about rolling it out. Eventually they're going to roll it out, or eventually they're just going to admit, oh yeah, we've been doing it. I'm going with that one. If I had money to put on it, I put money on, oh yeah, we've been doing it. You think Biden is going to be the next president? Don't know. I don't know about that one. I really, really doubt it. I mean, Biden is just about as unpopular as any president ever. And I don't see what could possibly get him elected again. I don't know how you sell Biden getting elected. Yeah, I know, but I just don't know. You have to sell that somebody, they sold that, whatever. I don't know how careful I need to be, but anyways, he won because supposedly Trump is just so unpopular and bad, and that's good enough reason, right, to make people believe that, like, oh yeah, sure, right, that's why he won. But he's so bad, and people are so, disillusioned, disappointed, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how you sell him winning again. I don't know how you do that. Yeah, so I think it's done. It's over. He's not going to win. And if they try to push him, it'll just be trying to push Hillary Clinton, right? Again. It's going to be, it's going to be a cakewalk for whoever's for the Republican, right? It's so if they anoint him the guy, it's, Democrats out. Those are just my thoughts on it. I could be wrong. But anyways, just the idea that he interviewed Dane Wigington, I think is the news story in itself. Because wow. And RFK is out there telling a lot of truth. He really is. Whether he's controlled or not, whether you like him or not, whether you think his intentions are good or not, he's saying a lot of things. He's putting a lot of truth out there. that people are going to be like, what? Whoa. All right. I like this guy. Right? Here's another interesting thing that the Children's Health Defense posted again, going full truther, but I have to say I like that they posted this. Catherine Austin Fitts on Children's Health Defense Twitter. We're staring down the barrel of a coup d'etat. I like Catherine Austin Fitts. I think she's a very smart lady. She has some ideas that people might find like kind of wild, but I find them plausible. I don't find them like completely out there. I don't think she believes climate change is real, and so I guess I would disagree with her on that one, but we can't win them all. She says we're staring down the barrel of a coup d'etat, and we're staring down the barrel of mass atrocity, and the enemy's first and foremost strategy is to control your mind. Every day there are millions of ways that digital systems in your lives are screening your content. Think of the search results you got during COVID. They're screening what information comes to you, and they're delivering entertainment subliminal programming that's influencing what you think. We are in a war. Let's listen to her say the same thing I just read.
In the last 3 years, we saw the government with dictatorial policies shut down a huge number of the small businesses in this country for no reason other than, to help their friends pick up a lot of money. We have, the latest statistics, the billionaires made another $1 trillion, 500 new billionaires. So you have an unprecedented success of the establishment engaged in vulturism capitalism. And now we're going to talk about this next week. They're in the process of trying to do to the banking system what they did to small businesses during the pandemic. So we're looking at a coup d'etat. We're staring down the barrel of a coup d'etat, and we're staring down the barrel of a mass atrocity. If you look at the numbers of who's disabled in the workforce and the rise in all-cause mortality, this is a mass atrocity, Polly. So why anybody should, we're in a war and somebody's trying to kill us. If you look at the, coming up to the pandemic, all the things the search engines did to shut off access and not bring up searches that give you natural remedies. I mean, the numbers are astonishing. So make no mistake about it, every day there are millions of ways the digital systems in your lives are screening your content. They're screening what information comes to you, and they're delivering entrainment and subliminal programming that's influencing what you think. I mean, we are in a war, and the enemy's first and foremost strategy is to control your mind.
And if you have to censor ideas that you find dangerous or, that you don't agree with because they're unsafe or unclean or whatever. If you have to censor information in order to make sure that everybody knows what the truth is, well then your truth isn't very strong to begin with, is it? Right? Because truth is always apparent on its own merits. It's the lie that has to be sold. Right? It's not just told, it is sold. A lie has to be sold. And you have to repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. And you have to make sure that everybody that hears the opposite side of the lie, you have to make sure that you absolutely smear that the other side of the lie as the lie, as misinformation, as right. You know the deal. So if they're really the ones, if they're really telling the truth, or if they really care about you, or if they're really like doing it for your well-being, well, then it wouldn't be rammed down your throat. With the penalty of not agreeing with it being you get a strike, you get kicked off YouTube, you get your Facebook account deleted, you get right. I mean, because isn't that soft, like a soft digital gulag? Anyways, I thought that was interesting. It's an interesting video. Interesting video of. This might be dangerous to play on YouTube. I don't know. I have another RFK video. It might be. Oh, okay. All right. We're already heading into the end of the show. I don't know where all my calling people are at. Usually there's like a group of folks on calling, and Friday is the day to call in, and nobody's here. So I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm not going to take any calls at the very end of the show. So I suggest if you're going to get into the call-in thing, do it soon. They're intimidated. Okay. The very best ways to support the show is paypal.me/Kevin Sandbloom, Venmo @Kevin Sandbloom, Cash App Red Llama Music, buymeacoffee.com/Black Bear News. Or you can super chat me, or you can Rockfin Super Do Re Mi 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 Mi. All right. Oh, so this is from Wide Awake Media, and I have issues with Wide Awake Media. Some of the things they push out about climate change, and I'm not really, they're big on the climate scam thing, and some of the things they push forward don't have a lot of data and evidence behind it. So, but this is an interesting one. I had to stop on this one and go, huh? Right? Because if somebody gives you something that might, be based on data and evidence, I don't know, and maybe this is not. But this is satellite images from the College of DuPage Meteorology Department show that on the 2nd of June, the fires that erupted in Quebec, Canada, all started at the exact same time. Well, that is kind of weird, isn't it? And a bunch of people were like, well, it's lightning strikes. And it was it's a clear day. There wasn't like some big storms going on. And somebody else said, well, it looks, it could be lightning strikes, but then again, if it was a lightning strike, they wouldn't all generate that amount of smoke all at the same time on the same day. So it certainly is. This could be an interesting point of contention on whether these are climate change caused fires or not. What if it's a mixture? What if some of them are honestly started by climate change, and what if some of them are not? I don't know. It's hard to tell what the truth is these days. But it's good to want to find out. It's good to want to find out. I don't know. I'm just putting this forward as like, what do you think about this? You don't have to believe it or not, but this is from the College of DuPage Meteorology Department. So it's a meteorology department from the College of DuPage. I don't know. Is this guy? Anyways.
Look up here in the upper right-hand corner. Watch this throughout the day today. A giant outbreak of fires has taken place across a whole Canadian province all at once. Look up to the northeast, up here in Quebec. All of Quebec just caught on fire all at once on a clear day. I would say this would be some kind of terrorism of some kind or an attack. Here it is. Here we are. I'm going to let the images load. You can see this morning it's clear. Just partly cloudy skies. Nothing really crazy going on there. And then, well, there's last night. Here's today. All of southeast Quebec just caught on fire, guys. All of it. Insane. Insane. Look at that. The whole thing. All at once.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just showing that, to get, what do you all think? I don't know. I mean, sure, you can say, I believe all of those factors could be, dry forest, lightning, power lines, and humans make for big fires. But did somebody throw those fires all started at the same time? So did everybody throw their cigarettes out the window at the same time? It seems a little weird. I don't know. Does it? Hold on one second though. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what the College of DuPage really is? Is it a real college? Is it just a website? Is it somebody making some stuff up? I don't know. Schulte says, Kevin, whatever you show in your daily hour of news is leaps and bounds beyond what anyone else I know is showing important stories that people should know. Thank you, Schulte. I appreciate that. I try to bring the important stuff. Let's see. I mean, it looks like the College of DuPage has a meteorological program. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to verify every single thing, and who knows if that video is really from the College of DuPage. I don't know. Looks like they exist. So, who knows? It is an interesting bit of footage, though, right? Oh, thank you, Gene. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate y'all, hanging out with me. Shoot, it's hard to do a show if nobody's watching. I don't know where all the calling people went, though. Today just wasn't your day to call in, or something else going on. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. And I wouldn't. I'd go 50-50 on it. Are they naturally caused? Possibly, very possibly. Could they be started for other reasons? Who knows? It's possible. I actually have to, until I have more information at hand, it's hard to come down one way or the other. It's hard to say, like, I absolutely know for certain that it's not this or it is this. It's okay. You don't have to have an answer, and you don't have to have a, locked tight belief that one thing is 100% true or 100% false. You don't have to do that right away. You know that. I don't have to do that. Maybe you have to do that. I don't have to do that. Creative Experiment says maybe alien cigarette butts causes fires. Yeah. Well. All right. I want to play a couple. Well. I'm going to play a couple more videos. Well, I'm going to go do the rest of the show on Rockfin. We've got like 7 minutes, so we're going to do the last 7 minutes on Rockfin. So YouTubers, thanks for hanging out. Tomorrow, probably going to do the show at 10 a.m. tomorrow. That's a very high likelihood. So like a 90% likelihood that I'm going to do the show at 10 a.m. So everybody, if you all want to show up 2 hours earlier tomorrow, I will do the show at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm going to do the rest of the show on Rockfin and just show you a couple more videos that might be problematic. Anyways, YouTubers, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.